is over.
Hello, I'm Gary Cassidy, and you're listening to the Insiders Wrestling Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Insiders Podcast, and we are here with Gary Cassidy. Gary Cassidy is back for his second interview with us. We are really honored to have him on our show again. I know a lot of you guys loved his first interview. So many of you gave us the feedback and said, hey, bring Gary back. Well, Gary is back. Gary, welcome to our show again, man. Appreciate you coming back.
No, thank you again. It's always good when you get invited back somewhere. It means that the first time didn't go too badly. So I'll take that. That's a nice little ego boost for me, and it's nice to be talking to you guys again.
Oh, man, yeah, great to talk to you as well, man. Great to talk to you. So I got to ask you first off, man, what did you think about Drew McIntyre getting that championship?
Yeah, brilliant. Even though the circumstances weren't quite the way that I'd imagined it happening when I thought that, you know, it was a possibility, maybe at the Royal Rumble, and even before then, it wasn't quite the circumstances that I thought. But I was thinking before it happened, I'm going, if he does win, I think everyone will forget that, it's, you know, there's no crowd and stuff like that. I was like, Scotland's just going to absolutely explode. Like, people are going to be delighted that he's champion, and that is the way it's gone. The reaction over here has been incredible. I'm not sure if I told you guys last time about my little story about Drew McIntyre when he returns to Scotland after he'd been released for WWE, and it was kind of bringing up the Scottish wrestling industry here. It was taking it to a whole new level. But the way it is here, even though they're not running shows in the smallest of places, it's not like massive arenas, so they can still kind of go out afterwards. And at WrestleMania 31, I was watching it in a little rock club, and Drew McIntyre was there watching WrestleMania with a load of us wrestling fans in a rock club that maybe had, say, 100 people in it at the most, maybe give or take, somewhere between 80 and 120 people. Drew McIntyre was there watching WrestleMania as a fan, just having a little drink after wrestling a match. So just thinking of the difference 5 years can make that he's gone to now being essentially the face of the company. I'm delighted for him. So yeah, it's amazing. I can't wait to see where we go from here. I was a little bit worried on Raw that he might not have the title after
Oh my goodness!
I was a little bit worried, but no, I'm delighted. So yeah, we'll see where it goes from here.
Man,
they scared the crap out of us on Raw, man. My goodness.
People are starting to think they're going to give it to the Big Show. I'm like, oh my goodness, what a big disappointment that would be.
Man, I definitely thought they were going to do it. One, just because it's the kind of thing that, you know, you wait so long for something and they could just yank it from you at that first point. But also just because the Big Show is pretty big news just now with his Netflix show and stuff. So I'm going, yeah. It could happen, and that kind of made me appreciate it, because, you know, wrestling just now, like, it can get a bit predictable when you've watched it for so long, not through any fault of the people that are putting on the show, but when they find ways to work you a little bit like that, where I'm like, man, I don't actually know how this match is going to end. I love that. So while I was very worried, I actually did really enjoy it as well.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. I think there were a lot of people, even in our community, that were saying, you know, is he going to drop this title, the Big Show? So I mean, there were people that were a little bit nervous about that one. I'm glad that it didn't turn out that way. I mean, like you said, that could certainly be a Vince kind of a thing to do. He makes some crazy decisions sometimes. So yeah. So. What did you, I guess, we'll just start here, I guess. So what did you enjoy the most about WrestleMania, other than obviously the McIntyre win? What really stood out for you?
We'll pretend that didn't happen, because obviously that needs to top any list of things I enjoyed coming out of WrestleMania. But I think that the same as a lot of people, for me, the fact they had to think out of the box and then did so in probably the best way they ever could have, with the two matches that didn't take place in the traditional setting. The cinematic matches for me were absolutely incredible. I know that there's a lot of argument as to whether one of them was actually a match or not. I don't care. I enjoyed it. All I want from wrestling is for it to make me forget about everything else that's going on for a while. It did just that. I also really loved like the ladder match on the first night. I thought with John Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston. John Morrison, like he's not someone that when he was first in WWE, I wasn't really paying that much attention to wrestling. Like I was still kind of keeping up to date with it, but I wasn't watching that much. So I kind of missed a lot of his first run. But then when I started watching Lucha Underground and Impact Wrestling, I was like, man, I really wish I'd seen more of this guy in WWE. I think he proved on Saturday just how much of a valuable asset he can be because, man, he was incredible in that match. But I really enjoyed most things. There was only a couple of little things that I'm like, oh, do you know what, I could have done without that. But I really enjoyed Natalia, Liv Morgan as well in the pre-show. The second night, and obviously the Cesaro and Gulak, I'm not going to complain at that. It was a bit too short, but yeah, it was enjoyable. I think pretty much everything was good. On a podcast that I do a little podcast, and we went round the table and done a rating for the event, and most people on the first night were giving it quite low scores, and I was like, we're only halfway there, and I can't remember what I gave it in the first night. I think it was like a 3.5 or something. But at the end of it all, the two guys that I do the podcast with were like, oh, it was probably about a 3.5. And I'm going, for me, given the circumstances, I think it was about a 4.5 out of 5 for me, because there wasn't much that they'd done wrong. Like, I think given the circumstances, they put on a pretty incredible show over 2 days, and you're never going to love everything on a show. So I'm going to quite happily say that, the couple of matches I wasn't too invested in, I can take them anyway because we got an amazing show, and that's all that really matters, especially given the circumstances. So yeah, I think overall I really enjoyed everything, almost everything about it. So a load of highlights, and I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch it. So that's as good a recommendation as you can give anything.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Jeff and I did something similar in our show as well, and I think the only match we kind of similarly came up with that we were like, was the Bobby Lashley match, which that match was kind of doomed to fail anyway because of that whole storyline with Lana and that business there. So, but I agree with you. I think, you, especially like you said, considering the circumstances now with everything going on in the world and everything the way it is, the fact that we got something and we got 2 nights of content and, the majority of it was great. Jeff, I know you and I talked about sitting on the edge of our seats during that Undertaker match.
Yes. The Boneyard match was absolutely fantastic. And, Joe and I talked about, and I'd love to get your thoughts, Gary. We talked about how well WWE did this to the point that they should do this more, not just, in the current circumstances, but maybe having something like this more. And then I definitely want to talk about the Boneyard match first, but I definitely want to get your thoughts about the Firefly Funhouse match in a couple minutes after you discuss the Boneyard match.
But definitely, the Boneyard match for me, when it first got announced, I wouldn't say I was worried as such because that's maybe the wrong way to put it, but I wasn't too sure about what we were going to get. And it did kind of work out like a really good version of what I wanted us to get. I thought it was incredible. I'm not sure in terms of going forward, there's such a thing as getting too much of a good thing. I think if WWE done it maybe every week or every 2 weeks, I would get very bored of it very quickly. And it might kind of ruin what was special about it. But man, if Undertaker's going to keep wrestling, if you made every Undertaker match like a match that was similar to the Boneyard match, I would have no problem with that. I thought it was perfect in a few ways. One, it disguised a lot of the things that have not been enjoyable about Undertaker matches for the last little while, which, again, I'm not going to moan about Undertaker not being amazing in the ring at his current age. He's gave so much to the business that I can't really criticise him in any way. But this match showcased the Undertaker perfectly in what he can do and what he does well, and what he still does well and will always do well, and that is be an amazing character. I thought the filming of the match was perfect. It was that cinematic feel. The second that it started, they swerved me right from the start anyway. Like the AJ Styles coming out of the coffin, out of the hearse, that got me. Like immediately, I was like, "Oh, you've managed to swerve me in a way that I didn't think you'd be able to." And then the Undertaker riding in to Metallica. I'm like, "Oh, this is brilliant." But the full match, I just thought it was amazing. As soon as I started watching it, I'm going, "This is definitely got Jeremy Borash's name all over it." And lo and behold, it was him that had a huge part in it. There were a few other kind of surprising names that were part of it, but yeah, I knew Jeremy Borash was a big part of the production. I loved everything about it. The only worry that I have from it is, how do you bring AJ Styles back?
Yeah, that's very true.
I really hope that on Raw. Yeah, my one hope was on Raw. We would start cold on Raw back at the Boneyard site, and his hand would still be sticking out of the dirt, and he'd do the 2 sweep, and then get dragged out of the Boneyard, or something similar like that. But I'm really excited to see where they go with AJ Styles and Undertaker, and that's a match that I think it will go down in history as one of the at least the most unique WrestleMania matches of all time. But I think one of the best Undertaker matches of all time. Of course, the Undertaker-Shawn Michaels matches, for me, I don't think anything could ever top that as the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. But this match, for me, is one that, in terms of re-watching a match, both that and the Firefly Funhouse match are matches that I think I will go back and re-watch again and again and probably never get bored of them. So yeah, give us more of them. Not too many of them, because I don't want to get bored of them. So you need to have that little balance, not to overexpose us. But man, I absolutely love both of them, and I will go back and watch them again and again.
So let's dive a little deeper into the Firefly Funhouse match. Obviously, that was a very, very unique experience. I saw some of the things you put up on Twitter, but I just want to get your thoughts on that match and the psychology of it and what you took away from it.
Yeah, I couldn't take my eyes off of it, and that is probably as good a thing as you can say about almost anything on television, because there's this kind of thing where television's become, and wrestling's very, very much the same. It's become the kind of thing that it's really easy to have television or have like wrestling on in the background while you're doing something else on your phone or just doing something else, not really paying much attention. It captured me the second John Cena walked out to the ring, partly because I was like, oh, well, I know this match isn't happening in the ring, so what's going to happen here? And then it was just a barrage of just things that you kind of had no idea what was happening, and then they all added up at the end and kind of led you on a full story, a story spanning John Cena's entire career in the space of whatever it was, 20 minutes, something like that. So yeah, it had me hooked. I thought it was incredible. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, it wasn't a match." I couldn't care less what you want to call a match. We've seen matches, actual matches with a lot less physicality in them. So I just thought it was amazing. The one thing I'm still left with, I'm not sure if the match actually happened, or if it is John Cena's nightmare, if it's a figment of his imagination, if it happened in Bray Wyatt's head. I don't know if the match is actually canon, if we're saying that it did actually happen and was a WWE match, or if it was just something that happened and we were privy to whatever was going on in one of their heads. But I thought it was perfect. The one thing that I think John Cena has completely addressed the people that say John Cena buries talent and all this stuff, because he completely buried himself for that full match, because the creative behind it was Bruce Pritchard, who is the person that's the creative for SmackDown, and Bray Wyatt had put together what was going to happen, and then they gave their essentially script, I guess is the best way to put it. They gave their script over to John Cena, and apparently he made a lot of changes and suggested a lot of things that happened that were for the better of the match, one of which I believe was the Nikki Bella thing, which was insane. The fact that they even addressed that straight away, I was like, what the hell is this? Why are you? I didn't think they would ever. I thought that was something they would never address in a million years. The fact they'd done that and played off of what you would imagine to be all of John Cena's insecurities, I just thought it was incredible. Again, like I said about the Boneyard match being one that you would go back and watch a million times, this one I think you could go back and watch a million times and see something that you didn't see before each time. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. Again, I'm not sure how much I want to see those matches going forward. I think it needs to be a delicate balance, but it really excited me. So I really would happily watch it again and again. And yeah, like I keep saying, that's the sign of anything that's a compliment. As if you want to watch something again, then it's good. That's all you can say on it. It's a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, I sat talking to Jeff after the match ended, and there were some parts of it that that didn't really register right off the bat, like the whole NWO thing. And then until after him and I talked, and we're like, he said, well, that's him showing John what he could have become if he swung that chair at him, that all that time. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like he could have turned into a big heel like Hulk Hogan did. It's just so well thought out, like the whole thing. And like you said, I did read the thing about Pritchard being involved and then Cena being involved. So, I mean, hey, hats off to them, because here I am thinking that, this is all on Bray's shoulders and he has to come up. But the fact that now Pritchard's getting involved with some of this and doing good work like that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the full thing, the best way that I've seen it described is it was like a loyalty reward for lifelong wrestling fans, because there was so much in it that kind of took you back to a certain match at a certain point in time that, if you watched it and hadn't seen anything about wrestling, you might be a bit confused. I think a lot of us were confused, even though we have watched wrestling for a long time, but it was like a loyalty reward because it was just taking you back and like tying up loose ends, like left, right, and center. So yeah, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
And Gary, here's another thought. What did you make of them referencing the John Moxley podcast interview where you know exactly what I'm talking about? Where John Moxley says is such good shit. And and they reference it, and not only do they reference it, but now they have merchandise.
They have a T-shirt now that says.
So what did you make of that?
I love it. So yeah, I will start off by saying I'm not massive on like the initial thought of people throwing out like shots here and there. Like I hated the full. I don't know if you remember back at, I think it was Takeover War Games. And WWE had the shot of Britt Baker, which it was said to be accidental. But then after that, AEW did the same thing and took a shot and had Britt Baker doing the shock face. I think stuff like that's a wee bit, just a bit, not great. It's just, it makes me sigh when I see it, and I'm like, oh, it's not for me. Things like this, though, when you turn something that's said about you back on the people that have said it, I do really like that. I thought it was genius. The main thing, even going back to the Vince McMahon puppet's introduction, people always think that Vince McMahon's such a sensitive person about what people think about him. That the fact that he allowed that to be on screen, I thought was genius. But that's before we even got to, the self-deprecation that was involved in this weekend, where when they done that and said that line, I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. And then, of course, bringing it to T-shirts, I'm going, if people are going to make fun of you for something, you might as well make some money out of it. So I kind of appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to, if it was me in that situation, I know for a fact that I wouldn't have the intelligence to do that and bring out some merch that was essentially making fun of myself. And I thought it was genius. But Vince McMahon, we know, is a business genius, so I guess it shouldn't be a surprise at all.
No kidding. And it's funny because Jeff and I are going to talk this coming Monday's show about the Dark Order, and again, that whole thing is, I mean, everybody's now saying it's in the news where Cody had to come and defend it, saying, well, that's not us saying stuff about Vince, so that's not. I mean, come on, it's blatantly a parody of Vince. I mean,
yes. So, it's very blatant.
Oh my goodness. Like, it's so obvious that that's what that is. And I mean, to me, that was kind of a little bit disappointing because I kind of like the whole idea of the Dark Order being kind of like, almost like a Bray thing, like a supernatural kind of a thing when it first started. And now it's just turned into this like comedy routine about Vince. And I'm like, so I tend to agree with you there. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. Like, they don't need to do that. I mean, Brody Lee's a good enough guy that can stand out on his own where he shouldn't have to do that stuff.
I really, I wanted it to be like, and again, this is kind of comparing it to another angle, but I wanted it to be like the Ministry, the Ministry of Darkness back in WWE. I thought that would have been the way to go, and I did like. I said the same thing maybe a good few weeks ago about AEW, and I'm like, oh, there's too many like cult stories and stuff like that, and it's a wee bit too much of the darkness. Now I'm regretting saying that, because I really wanted them to do something that was incredibly dark with the Dark Order stuff. I loved what they done with the Join the Dark Order kind of recruitment videos and stuff like that, but I really wish they'd have kept Brody Lee as a really mysterious, let him talk, because he's a good talker, but keep him as a mysterious kind of dark alternative character. And yeah, I'm not a fan. Like, I hate how blatant the shots are with like the sneezing and the having to finish his steak first and stuff like that. It's just those shots are boring. Yeah, I didn't mind I quite liked the shot that he took that was the to Christopher Daniels, "You're not the first old man that's not believed in me." I like that line. But yeah, everything after that seems like they've kind of overstepped the boundary. Letting WWE get in their head, I think, is probably the way I'd put it. I think like the odd little comment is fine, but it's now getting to the point where I think, and people might like the angle, so I don't speak for everybody here, but I think that the product is suffering because they're trying to get in these shots at Vince McMahon, and never let your own product should come first. I think they could have done a lot better with that angle. I'll keep watching it, but I really think they could have done better with that angle, and I kind of hope they veer more towards the dark stuff going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And Jeff, I know you said the same thing. You mentioned that too. It's just too much.
Yeah, they don't need to do it. I mean, at this point, they have a good stable of talent there. They have a good mixture of veterans that have been doing it for a while, and then newer names and faces that we don't know as well. So they have a good mixture of talent. There's no need to keep referencing the WWE, because right now, and I think I said this in an earlier podcast that we did, but it looks like they're the little brother trying to get the attention of the big brother. And it just doesn't bode well for them, because right now, I mean, where they are, they're kind of playing their hand into it, because you're going up against, in all intents and purposes, WWE's third best brand at this point. And I'm not going to look at the ratings like other people on Twitter and media people that I'm not going to name, because don't even get me started on those two. Talking about the freaking demographics. Don't even get me started. And I hope they hear it too. That's where you are right now. So how about be different? You talk all this crap about why you left WWE, and every single guy that's over there now that was in WWE talked about bad creative and this and that. Well, now's your opportunity. You have a company that's not affiliated with WWE. Show us what good creative looks like. Don't just give us a bunch of recycled crap and talking about WWE and expect people not to be able to tie the two. I mean, we're not dumb. We're intelligent fans. So give us something that looks a little bit different than you just always taking shots at WWE. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I don't want to offend any. I don't want to offend any AEW fans, because I like AEW as well. I really do enjoy it, but I want to see them get away from always referencing the WWE and always kind of taking those shots at them, because it just makes them look like they're inferior, and they're not. They have great talent. Let's just see some more creative stuff.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I agree with you. I agree.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox.
No, it's good. Oh man. So, Gary, what did you think of? Now, obviously, we went to SmackDown last night. I'm not gonna, I can't really talk much about Raw, because to me, Raw just didn't have a whole heck of a lot to talk about. But obviously, now we saw, and this kind of shocked us too, was the end of SmackDown with the whole thing. Now, what looks like they're going forward with a Bray versus Braun angle, which I don't know, man. When I first saw that, I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. Are they really going to make Braun drop the title back to Bray after they took it off him like 2 months ago and gave it to Goldberg? Like, it doesn't make sense. Now, Jeff brought up something that he heard. I don't know if you heard this at all too, and you could let us know about Roman maybe kind of falling out of favor a bit with them now. And so are they changing this all up? Like, I mean, what are your thoughts on Bray and Braun now?
I am very torn. Let's just say that. The one thing I'll say on the Roman Reigns one, I do think they're preparing for life without Roman Reigns over the next few weeks if he's going to have to stay at home. Obviously, you can't really hold off on storylines that involve, especially the WWE Championship and Universal Championships. We already have kind of seen that enough with, I hate saying part-time champions, but if the champion is someone that holds the belt on TV, you kind of need them to have some kind of storyline, otherwise you're not going to go anywhere. So I get that they have to have something, and if Roman Reigns is staying at home, then you can't hold off on having any kind of challenger. You need someone. I will say SmackDown's got I'll kind of not a lot of faces. What I actually thought was going to happen last night, because of the stuff that was being said during a previous match, I thought we were gearing up for a Cesaro Braun Strowman segment, and maybe them to be on a program going forward. Again, I don't know if I'd have loved or hated that. I love Sheamus. I'm a big fan of Sheamus. But he keeps, in the interviews I've done with him, he keeps saying he wants the Intercontinental Championship. So I was like, I'm not sure if I want him in the WWE Championship picture if he personally isn't invested in it. But when they done that match at the end, it was weird anyway having him against Nakamura. I thought I didn't dislike that, but it was weird having that match. But then when they had Bray Wyatt show up at the end, I love seeing Bray Wyatt on TV. This was the first time that I went, oh no. Well, it's not obviously the Goldberg match was the first time I'd done that. But this was the first time that he's appeared on TV, and I've not been excited. And the promo he gave afterwards was great. So I feel like it is going to be an amazing program, and I would have really wanted to see Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. I just don't want the championship involved. So yeah. I feel like it is like a kind of having your cake and eating it kind of thing, where I feel like I'm dictating the product, whereas I shouldn't be. But yeah, I'm a bit annoyed that the championship's involved, because now if he does go after Braun Strowman, I know there is a story between those two, but if he's going after him saying he wants the championship back, it defeats the full thing that was said before as to why he lost to Goldberg, because he doesn't need the championship. So yeah. I know there's hindsight is a wonderful thing, but if he wins the championship back, in the back of my mind, it's always going to be, well, why did he lose to Goldberg? Because you could have just had him versus Braun as the story to begin with. So I don't know. I'm excited for the storyline, but I'm worried about them booking themselves into a corner, because I don't want Braun to drop the title so quickly. He's waited a long time for it, no matter what your personal feelings are on the guy. I think he is a good person to have holding the title. I've said for a long time that on the live shows I've been to, Braun Strowman has normally been the most over person with the younger fans. Apart from, obviously, you get like Roman Reigns and stuff get massive cheers, but Braun Strowman's normally the guy that does quite good at amping up the fans. He's great at the media stuff. He's a really good talker. He looks a star. I think he's as close as WWE are going to get to Hulk Hogan nowadays in terms of being like a massive guy who's a massive star who can get the crowd on board just by doing some little gestures and some kind of simplistic moves. So I want him to hold the title. But again, if I'm saying that, we can't have Bray Wyatt lose. Right. I feel like, they're booking themselves into a corner a wee bit for me, but I'm not going to sit here and book them into a corner for them. I'll just say that I'm not sure where we go from here. I guess that'll keep me watching, but I'm slightly worried. So hopefully I'm not worried for a while.
I agree with you there. I was thinking about it because we spoke about this last night too, and I was thinking about it myself. You're right. I mean, if you take that away from Braun, you make Braun look really bad. You make him look like a paper champion where he's going to carry it for one pay-per-view. If you have Fiend lose again, which I don't really think they can do at this point either, because if he loses again and drops that, so you almost kind of think the only way they can get out of this is if something really screwy happens. So if they, if somebody interferes in their match, like, I don't know, people are theorizing saying that maybe Cena sticks around and maybe Cena comes back now as the heel, and he comes back and costs Braun the match somehow, and he's the one who ends up costing him the match, and then he drops the belt to Fiend, and then they go into a Cena versus Braun program and have Cena be the heel in that. I don't know. I agree with you. There's not many ways they can come out of this with really, really good results.
No, yeah, that's my main worry. I actually kind of, for the first time in a long time, I do think the screwy finish is the way to go. I don't want anyone to lose in this feud. So, yeah, hopefully they think of something. Hopefully they do.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. It really. I mean, the two of them should work really well together because I know the two of them are best friends.
Yeah. I think Braun's the godfather to Bray's child.
He is. Yeah.
They're about as close as you can get without being related.
Yeah, exactly.
So Gary, we've got this Fiend and Braun Strowman storyline, but what are some other things that you're looking forward to coming out of WrestleMania and going forward now that we know we're going to get some newly taped shows or live shows? What storylines are you looking forward to going forward?
The main thing, and this actually, it was Raw that turned my head on this, is I'm really looking forward to seeing how well they book Aleister Black going forward. Because when Aleister Black came out on Raw, I was like, oh, not another enhancement match. And then when Apollo Crews came out, it's bad to say, but I was like, oh, it's just going to be another quick win for Aleister Black. And I've seen that enough. It was the same with the Viking Raiders. I've seen it enough. When someone is at that level, you don't need to keep having enhancement matches. But he had a really good match with Apollo Crews. I think it actually done the exact same for Aleister Black as it done for Apollo Crews, and it showcased him as what he is, which is a really good talent, a really talented guy. I think that Aleister Black is gonna, maybe not next year, but I'll stick my head out and say that maybe next year he could headline WrestleMania. And I think that, they've done well in slowly building him up. He's not undefeated anymore, but the match that he lost because he was competing against 3 people. So they've done a really good job of building him up, not making him look indestructible, but making him look really strong and really good. But they've still managed to keep him quite mysterious. There's still stuff that I want to know about him, but we know enough about him to get behind him. So I'm really excited to see what they do with him. I'd like to see them maybe have him win the Royal Rumble or something like that. Again, switching brands, I don't want Drew McIntyre to lose the title. so keep those two apart. But no, I'd really like to see what they do with Aleister Black. There's a few other people that I'm just excited to see more of. I think Liv Morgan, I said it last week, that she, for me, is the most improved talent in WWE this year. I think she's done what the people I would go back to is Lacey Evans and Carmella, Alexa Bliss, and even like Baron Corbin. Every week that I've seen them, I've been like, oh, when did they get that good? And at some point, it has to be on me for not recognising that they are really good. It can't just be me going, oh, they had a good match. That's surprising. Liv Morgan's one of those people. The match she had with Asuka on Raw was great. And again, Asuka is somebody that I think WWE have invested a lot of time into. People were complaining when she lost to Charlotte. I thought it was the right time. And I now think we've actually, she fell out for a wee bit, fell down the pecking order. But I think we've got the most exciting Asuka we've ever had in WWE now, where she can be entertaining and put on great matches. And she's not got the burden of being undefeated. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with her. The reason I mention her is because I think she might be the Money in the Bank winner. Again, there's so much that that's if Money in the Bank happens. We already know that the venue is cancelled on them. But I think it'll be in the Performance Centre or postponed. But the Money in the Bank thing is that's always my favourite storyline in WWE, just because how unpredictable it can be. You can just have somebody run out of the middle of nowhere and change the full shape of the programming. So that's the thing I'm really excited for. And again, Asuka, I wouldn't mind Liv Morgan holding it. I wouldn't mind, Sasha Banks and Bayley. I think the story's there. You don't really need that. But again, it would probably be a nice catalyst for that. I don't even know who I'd want to win it on the guys' side of it. Maybe someone like Kevin Owens. But I'm really excited for that. And I think they've done well at building up a lot of stars. I used to always complain about WWE doing 50-50 booking and you know, someone would win a match here and then they'd have to lose so the other person could get the momentum back. But then that kills the other person's momentum anyway. But I think they've actually done a good job in building people like Aleister Black, even Liv Morgan, despite her losing to Asuka. There's no shame in that. And they've built Asuka really well. So those three, I'm really excited to see what they do. And the one thing, I think I mentioned this last time, I really hope, and it's looking promising after last night, but I really hope we're going to see more of the Women's Tag Team Championships, because I forgot they were a thing until WrestleMania. And now we're seeing them a bit more, so hopefully they do more with that.
Do you think that Edge might have a shot with the ladder match? Do you think they might give him the briefcase to have?
That's something I didn't even contemplate until you've just said it, and now I think that is what I want.
There you go.
Yeah. So the weird thing was, I had this full theory that I thought Edge was going to lose at WrestleMania, and I'm not sure if it had been the wrong decision, because I think the storyline did need Randy Orton to be the guy that, you know, takes the fall because of him being the way he's been to Edge over the past 6 months. So I think they had to have Edge win, but my full theory was Edge is only contracted for 5 matches per year. He's got a 3-year contract. There's 5 matches per year, 25 appearances. But 25 appearances is quite a lot. So have him hold the Money in the Bank briefcase and don't actually have him compete in any matches. Just have him hover about the title picture and give it to Edge. Okay, you've got me sold there.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's very interesting. And you're right. The Money in the Bank thing always brings out more nervous anxiety, pretty much, because you never know when that person's going to do that. It used to be, it didn't used to be that way. When they had that first going, you always kind of knew that, that's not going to happen. They're not going to cash that in now. They're going to wait until some huge event, but that isn't always the case anymore.
No, I think a couple of things changed that. I think Seth Rollins changed it when they held off for the best part of a year and done it at Mania. And I think, sadly, things like Baron Corbin not winning the title from his, and then the Dean Ambrose one when the Shield all held the championship in the space of one night. And even the Carmella one where she held it for way past WrestleMania and then cashed in the night after, the show after WrestleMania, the Smackdown after WrestleMania, on Charlotte, who had just beaten Asuka, which I personally like that. But yeah, I think they've made it really unpredictable. And even when the music hits now, I'm not like, well, that person's going to win the title, because it could go either way. So I really can't wait for Money in the Bank. I think that is like my favourite. People always say, you know, Royal Rumble is definitely going to be the most exciting show every year, and I think WrestleMania is a close second. For me, Money in the Bank is probably third on that list. I think Money in the Bank is more exciting than SummerSlam and Survivor Series, personally, just because it can change everything. So I'm really excited for Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. What did you think of Bianca Belair moving up to Raw?
So I do like it, and I think she's incredibly talented. The angle on Raw, I absolutely hated. I need to be honest about that. It was nice seeing her at WrestleMania and getting that WrestleMania moment. But I think if they were going to do what they did on Raw, they could have just not had that happen and just had her on the Raw. But it was really overly complicated when they had, you know, for a start, when they had Street Profits versus Garza and Austin Theory on Raw. And Zelina Vega was standing there in a ring gear, and because of what had happened the previous night, you kind of knew that we were getting Bianca Belair coming out in some form anyway. And then, you know, they had the disqualification, and then rather than just going to a 6-person tag, they had Vega versus Belair, which was good because it showcased Belair. You know, people might not be aware of how good she is unless they've watched the Royal Rumble or NXT. So it was good at showcasing her. But then they had, you know, that full match, and then that got weirdly disqualified because they had a brawl that was happening in the ring beside them, and then they went to the 6-person tag match. The one thing that I didn't like was it's pre-recorded. They could have fixed this. They had Bianca Belair cut a promo to Zelina Vega, but because of the way they done it, her back was to Zelina Vega because she had to cut the promo to the hard cam, and they didn't edit it to make it look like she was talking to Zelina Vega. So I feel like they hindered her a little bit there. But saying that, the promo was incredible. She's brilliant in the ring. And I think, the thing that everybody's looking for in wrestling now, and we do get it quite a lot, but the thing everybody's looking for is somebody that is unlike anyone else. Someone that is very unique. And that, as I go back to Aleister Black, he's definitely unique. Drew McIntyre, I would say, is very unique. Bianca Belair definitely falls into that category. The hair whip stuff is, no one does it. As far as I know, no one else does it. She's great on the mic, and teaming her up with the Street Profits, obviously she's married to Montez Ford in real life anyway, but I think teaming her up with them, it is a good little balance. And I would like to see her do well. I'd like to see her in the championship kind of picture for a while. She could even be a shout for Money in the Bank. I'm excited to see her. I think the Raw segment kind of made it a bit less exciting for me just because there's a few things I criticise about it. But no, I'm excited to see her. And out of, the people that have seemingly come up for NXT, I shouldn't say that, gone across, I guess, now because it is seen as the third brand. But out of all the people, she is the one that I'm most excited to see more of. And there's so many matches we've not seen that are available to her now on the main roster, like, Becky Lynch and Asuka. I'd love to see her versus Asuka. Anyone. I'm really excited to see her. So hopefully we'll see more of her, and hopefully we'll see more of her and the Street Profits, because I really like that pairing.
Yeah, I think she gives them a good balance too, because it's not just, I know some people have gotten, I don't want to say bored, but they feel like Montez comes out and does the same thing every week.
Yeah.
Which, listen, I love it. I think he's hilarious. I think he's very funny, and I think him and Dawkins really play well off of each other. But I think this gives them a nice balance as well. I would like to see her in the title picture. I'd like to see her and Shayna go at it again.
Yeah, definitely.
And set up something with Becky down the road. But yeah, I want to see more of her, because she's unlike anything we've seen from a strength perspective, from mic skills, and her character is just so completely different than anything we've seen before. So I'm really, really excited to see what they do with her.
Yeah, completely agree on that. I didn't even mention her strength or how she is in the ring, but yeah, completely agree with that. I think she is a ready-made superstar. I think she already is a superstar, but yeah, she's ready-made to be like one of the top names in WWE for me.
Yeah.
So who do you think we got? I have to get your opinion on this. We didn't talk about it the last time. We got more of a clue as to who do you think this glitch person is on SmackDown? Who's the person in the hood?
I now think they're completely playing us, but I think the obvious option is Ali. And I said that for the first time it came up, the envelope came up and I didn't know, but the very second image was identical to Ali's hand when he does the showing the light thing. So I think it needs to be a swerve for it not to be him, and I wouldn't mind if it is a swerve. I actually really thought that we were going to get the culmination of it at WrestleMania, but I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad they done the thing that they done on SmackDown before WrestleMania and had, actually showed us the hacker while keeping their identity a mystery. Showed us the hacker and showed us that room. I thought that really made me sit up and take notice. And there was the thing a couple of months ago that the WWE account got, in inverted quotes, hacked, and it said the truth will be held. And a lot of people thought that that it was a legitimate hacking, and including myself. I didn't. They got me on that one. I thought when I seen the image, I was, oh man, somebody actually has hacked the WWE account. So yeah, that's anything that can still work. People like me that have watched wrestling for years is always appreciated. So when they done that, I was like, yep, that's great. And then they're now continuing it with social media, and they've got Sonya Deville's account getting hacked and stuff like that. I think that's brilliant. If you can use social media, you might as well use it, because it's an amazing way to get a storyline out there and get people seeing it, which is the same with the 24/7 Championship back when that started. They've done a really good job of using social media, and I think this is the way to do it as well. Having a hacker storyline is an amazing way to do it. I don't know who it could be apart from Ali. That's you know, that people were saying, I've seen a few people say Robert Roode would be good because he was teamed up with Dolph Ziggler. I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that idea because, I don't know, I like Robert Roode's whole glorious thing. I feel like we didn't really see enough of that on the main roster. So I'm not sure, but I think it's got to be Ali. But I would like to be surprised. If they don't make it Ali, I don't really mind. But if they make it Ali, then it might be a good way to kind of showcase him more as a character. I feel like he's such a character off of television and out of the ring that we need to know more about him on television. So I would like them to use this for, you know, he's the kind of hidden hero, like the person that's making people, you know, see justice and stuff like that. I do quite like that. I hope they do that with him. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm not sure if I missed. Did they do anything with that last night?
No, they didn't actually. There was
no.
No, there wasn't anything yesterday. There's so many goofy things flying around. I've heard everything from CM Punk to no wait. Oh man, who else? I've heard some women wrestlers mentioned in there. Oh man, yeah. There's so many things flying around. So many people want CM Punk back, and it's just I hate to tell them, but I really don't think it's going to happen.
It's not happening.
No, I would agree with you guys. I don't think it's happening. If it is, it definitely isn't happening from him hacking Dolph Ziggler and Otis's storyline. That's definitely not the way it's happening.
No way. No way.
So Gary, what would you think if it was Johnny Gargano?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, I guess so. That wouldn't be bad. Anyone from NXT, I think, would be good just because it would be, you know, a character we maybe haven't seen on SmackDown. I quite like that idea, actually, Johnny Gargano. But I think they've went too deep with Ali stuff. That the only way they could make it a swerve now would be if they had someone pretending to be Ali hacking people to start a rivalry with Ali. I don't know. Yeah. It's a bit of a strange one. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Johnny Gargano on Raw or SmackDown because it would open up a huge potential of matches that we've not seen before. So yeah, bring up anyone for NXT. That excites me most definitely.
Yeah. So I've got to ask you another question about some news we've gotten in the past couple of days. Was it a work or was it a shoot? What we got from Ronda Rousey?
So I think it was a shoot that's gonna become a work. I know that's a bit of a cop out, but I do think she was being honest because you know the fans did turn on her quite a bit, and she should have been the massive star. And I would say she was a massive star. She brought a lot of mainstream eyes to to WWE. Sorry, I don't think the women would have headlined WrestleMania as quickly without Ronda Rousey being the catalyst for that, and the reason that, you know, it was such mainstream news. So I do think she probably does have and maybe quite rightly, does have a sense of entitlement that, you know, the fans should have been behind her and the fans should have maybe cheered her a bit more. And she did. She was good. Like I thought she took to wrestling really quickly. So it's not as if she came in and was absolutely horrible at it and was terrible on screen and not exciting. I think, you know, she might have a perfectly valid argument at saying, you know, the fans were unfair on me. But I do think that it is going to lead to, if she does come back, then I think it is going to lead to her being like that in the ring and in WWE, where she does have a bit of a chip on her shoulder. She's disgruntled towards the fans. But I would be inclined to say she was being honest. If I had to guess, I would say she was being honest. She probably knew what she was doing. She probably knew that by saying that, people would pick up on it. But yeah, I would like to think she was being honest as well. I quite like that idea that, you know, the fans aren't untouchable, because I've been saying it for a while that the best thing about these empty arena shows is that we don't hear CM Punk chants every 2 seconds and we don't hear boring chants every 2 seconds. People can cut promos without getting what shouted at them. So I think it is quite good that someone's holding fans to account, because, you know, we've not seen that. People normally are pandering towards that kind of thing when they're on screen. So I quite like it. Yeah, a lot of people aren't a fan of it, and when I put up the quote oh man, I woke up today and people were having full-blown arguments with each other and my Twitter mentions about it. So it's definitely making the news. But yeah, no, I like it. And anything that makes wrestling feel a little bit real is always going to be welcome in my eyes as well. I think anything that drags wrestling into that territory where you wonder whether it's a work or whether it's a shoot, that is great. So I'm delighted with it. It caught me off guard when I saw the interview. So man, yeah, I'm sold on it. I don't care if it's a work or a shoot, as long as WWE capitalise on it, bring her back in, make her a massive heel, and then hopefully we can get that Becky Lynch Ronda Rousey match down the line that we kind of didn't get the singles version of. Hopefully that's what it leads to.
Right.
Absolutely, I agree, 100%. And they were directing her character that way anyway. At the end of her run,
yeah,
she was
that's
starting.
What makes me think it's more of a work, because that's what she was kind of starting to do. But I don't mind.
No,
happy with
man.
it either way.
I agree with you, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, again, Gary, we have had you for almost an hour here, so I don't want to take up all your holiday weekend here, because Jeff and I could talk to you forever. Again, for the guys who are just listening to you for the first time, shout out where they can find you on social media and how they can get in touch with you.
Firstly, thank you guys. Again, I'm always the kind of person that if someone starts talking to me about wrestling, you're probably going to have to tell me to shut up before.
Me and Jeff are the same way. Like I said, we could talk to you for that. We probably would have still been talking to Nikita Koloff until right before we got on with you, and then we could go another 4 hours. So.
Most definitely. But no, I definitely appreciate you guys having me back on. Give me a shout when this is out, and hopefully I can join the YouTube chat again as well, interact with a lot of people, because I had a blast doing that last time. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, obviously the last episode we kind of spoke more about journalism, and I welcomed anyone that is interested in doing anything, essentially anything to do with wrestling. Give me a shout. I'm quite happy to lend any advice I possibly can. It might be useful, it might not, but if it's not useful, then who cares? You've only wasted a couple of minutes sending me a message anyway, so it's not a big idea, not a big deal. But yeah, if you've got any questions, find me on Twitter, which is probably where I am the most. It's just Gary Cassidy, but my handle is Conscious Gary, and that's CONSCIOUS Hopefully if you type in Gary Cassidy, I'll come up anyway. But yeah, I'm normally on there, happy to answer any question. Feel free to DM me. My DMs are open as well. And if you want to see my interviews, most of them are probably on there getting retweeted on the daily by me, so people do see them. But if not, go to Sportskeeda and just type in Gary Cassidy. And again, I'm on there, just pretty much posting articles. But hopefully it won't come to that, because hopefully I'll be in the YouTube chat chatting to everyone, and then we can all interact that way anyway. But yeah, I'm always available to answer any questions. So anyone that's got any, just give me a shout.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, we'd love to have you back in the channel for the premiere. Absolutely. Everybody in the community loved it. I know you inspired some people in the community. I think it was Jake wants to be a journalist. I know he started his own blog basically. So yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, we would absolutely love to have you in there. And listen, anytime you want to come back, sir, we are more than happy to have you on, man, because we love talking wrestling with you. I know Jeff does as well.
Yes.
Most definitely. Just make sure you clear 4 or 5 hours out of the schedule so we can keep talking. But yeah, no, feel free to just give me a shout. Whenever you want me back, I'm more than happy to come on and have a wee chat about wrestling, because it's always welcome. It's always great talking about wrestling.
Oh, you got it. Definitely, man. Yes. Definitely. Really, really appreciate you coming on. And yeah, we will definitely take you up on that offer, man. Thanks again for being with us. And yeah, we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, sounds great. Have a great day, a great weekend, and take care.
You too, man. Have a great holiday weekend, buddy.
You too. Cheers, guys.